Hey guys, in this quick video, I'll try to be quick, of course. I'm going to show you how to graph quadratic equations. And then we have to be able to identify the intercepts, which mean the x and the y intercepts. X-axis symmetry and the vertex. Okay, so first things first, you got to understand that quadratic equation, one of the most popular form is in standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to graph three different types of quadratic equation in standard form. So you know this in the first equation, you have two terms, that's the binomial. Second equation is a binomial, two terms. And then the third equation, it has three terms, which is a trinomial. Okay, so how is this going to be, how are these equations going to have something in common or how they're different from each other? Okay, so let's take a look at the first equation. You know they say y equal x squared minus 4. X squared minus 4. So in this case, we know that the a, even though there's nothing in front of the x, the understood the a is equal to 1. Okay, and now I notice that something is missing in the first equation. There is no bx term, so I know that there's no bx, so the b is going to equal to 0. And the c, which is the constant term, and in this case, the c is equal to -4. And by the way, hope you guys remember, the -4 is actually my y-intercept. Because if you let x equal to 0, 0 squared is 0, 0 minus 4 is -4. So when x equal to 0, y equal to -4. And that's the reason why the c term is going to be my y-intercepts. Okay? Alright, so let's go back to what we've been doing. First things first, when you look at this equation, you're going to have to go to the equation, x squared minus 4, set the equation equal to 0. And then to solve for x in this problem, you're going to go ahead and isolate the x squared alone first by using inverse operation. So to get the x squared alone, you're going to go ahead and add 4 to the right. So that's become x squared equal to 4. Then we're going to go ahead and take the square root of both sides. Take the square root of x squared and the square root of 4. And the square root of x squared is x. And the square root of 4. Be careful when you take the square root of 4. You're going to have two answers. It's going to be plus or minus 2. Why? Well, because 2 times 2 is 4. And -2 times -2 is also 4. So remember, you got two answers. Now, some of you might not like this. You can also go to the equation and you factor it completely. Okay? Why do I know that I can factor this? Because if you look at the equation, you can see that x squared is a perfect square. And positive 4 is also a perfect square. And since it's a negative, so you know it's going to be a positive and a negative. Because when you FOIL it out, x times x is x squared. 2 times -2 is -4. And the 2x inside and the -2x outside term is going to cancel out. So right there, this is called the difference of two perfect square. Set equal to 0. Then you can go ahead and use the zero product property to solve for x. So now it's going to be x plus 2 equals 0. So x is equal to -2. And then x minus 2 equal to 0. Use inverse operation to get x alone. You're going to add 2. So x is equal to +2. So right there, I know that the x-intercepts is going to be -2 and +2. And I also have the y-intercept. So I should be able to graph this equation. Okay? I should be able to put the parabola together, be able to sketch it. Okay, so stretch the parabola, sketch the parabola. Okay? So let's go back to here real quick. Today, what we did in class was we introduced the formula x equal -b over 2a. And that is the formula to find the axis of symmetry. And what is the axis of symmetry? The axis of symmetry is a vertical line that divide the parabola into a symmetrical halves. Okay? So go to the equation, and then we already identified our b. B is 0. So negative 0 is just 0. And 0 divided by 2 times a, which is 2 times 1. And that's just going to be, well, anything divided by 0 divided by anything is just 0. That's going to be the axis of symmetry. And the axis of symmetry in this case is just going to be the y-axis, the vertical line, when x equal to 0. All right, so now we can take the 0, substitute it back to the equation, y equal x squared minus 4. Well, 0 squared is 0, and 0 minus 4 is just going to be negative 4. So there it is. There is my vertex. Y equal to negative 4, and then x is equal to 0. So I think I have pretty much everything that I need in order for me to sketch the graph of this equation. And I should be able to identify the intercepts, the axis of symmetry, and the vertex. Okay. There's my x-axis. Always, don't forget, always remember to label them. Okay, C is my y-intercept. That's negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. The x-intercept that I found earlier is negative 2 and positive 2. Negative 1, negative 2. Positive 1, positive 2. Okay. And then I also know that the axis of symmetry is x equal to 0, which is the vertical line, just the y-axis, and y equal to negative 4. So in this problem, very special, guys, something that you gotta pay attention to, that the vertex is also happen to be on the same point where the y-intercept is. Okay, so there it is. There is my parabola. Sorry, I'm drawing this with my mouse, so I might not be able to get a good parabola out of it, but you get the idea. There you go. Okay, so you know that in this problem it's a x squared minus 4. Another word, if you remember the parent function of parabola, it looks something like this. Okay, so what happened is all we're doing here is we take this whole entire parabola and then we translate it down 4 units on the y-axis. That's it. Okay, so that is how we're gonna solve and graph these kind of equation where you have a binomial and there is no bx terms. Okay, and then next time I can go over a problem where you have, let's say, x squared plus 4. How this is going to be different. Okay, and we go further into that next time. All right, let's jump over to number 2 real quick. Okay, and again, if you have any questions with number 1, shoot me a message over Google Chat and I will get back to you. Number 2, y equal x squared minus 4. Again, this also has 2 terms. All right, so it has 2 terms. So now, but you notice that there's no c term here. And I can think of this as if it's no c term, then the y-intercept is going to be 0. Okay, because if you put 0 in for x, 0 squared is 0. 4 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is equal to 0. So the y-intercept is just going to be 0. Okay, now, we're not going to be able to solve for this problem like the way we did over here with the first problem. So in order to solve for this problem, same thing, we need to set the equation equal to 0 first. And then we're going to have to look through the equation and we need to ask yourself, can I factor this? And before I factor this equation out, do you see anything different do you see anything different between this equation and the first equation? Of course, you notice that both of these terms have a common factor, and that's GCF. The greatest common factor is x. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the x, and of course, x squared divided by x is x. Negative 4x divided by x is negative 4. Check to see if it's right. X times x, x squared. X times negative 4, negative 4x. Set it equal to 0. I see some of you put a parenthesis around this x. That is perfectly fine. So same thing. I now want to go ahead and use the zero product property. So my first x-intercept is going to be x equal to 0 because that's what x is. X equal to 0. And the second x-intercept is going to set x minus 4 equal to 0. Then I have x equal to 4. Boom. So there is my x-intercept. This again, go back earlier, the y-intercept is going to be 0. Okay, so now let's go and plot what I have first before I go back and try to find the axis of symmetry. Okay, so let's go to the y-axis. That's the y. And let's go to the x-axis. Okay. Again, my x-intercept is going to be 0. My other x-intercept is positive 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and my y-intercept is also 0, so it's going to be right here. So what is the distance? What is the midpoint between 0 and 4? You know that's going to be 2. So we're going to go ahead and confirm to make sure that the axis of symmetry is when x equal to 2 by using the axis of symmetry formula, which is negative b over 2a. Okay, again, let's go back to the equation. What is b in this problem? B is negative 4. So you're going to put negative and then negative 4. Okay, because the formula say negative b, and the b is a negative 4. So there's another negative go in front of the negative 4. Divided by 2 times a, and a is 1. Because you don't see anything from the x squared, the leading coefficient is 1. Alright, what is negative 1 times a negative? Or what's negative a negative? That's become a positive. That's 4 over 4, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So yes, the axis symmetry is 2, and we got that one right. Now, how are we going to find the vertex? We're going to go ahead and take the 2, substitute it back into the equation here. So that's going to be 2 squared minus 4 times 2. And that's going to give me 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And 4 minus 8 is negative 4. So when x equal to 2, y equal to negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 4 is right there. And that's going to be 2 comma negative 4. So this point right here, guys, this point right here, it is 2 comma negative 4. And this point right here is my vertex. Okay, that's going to be my vertex. Alright, so now I think I have enough to sketch my graph. To draw my parabola. There it is. And then go up. Boom, there is my U shape, my parabola shape. Okay, so you noticed something that I'm going to tell you right now. If the b terms are negative, then the parabola shifts to the right. Vice versa, if the b terms are positive, it shifts to the left. And the reason for that is because you have a negative b right there. So it's a negative, next could be a positive. So the original b is negative, but in the equation, it shows positive. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's easy if you notice that whether you can see where it's move right or move left, move up or move down, so that you can keep track of your work just in case you get lost. Okay, all right. I hope that should be enough, and look like I'm almost out of time, so I'm just gonna do number 3 on a separate video later on. But these are the answers to number 1 and number 2. So make sure you guys factor the problem, use the negative b over 2a to find the axis of symmetry, and then use the axis of symmetry, substitute it back to the equation to find the vertex. And don't forget to label your intercepts and your vertex.